We are all in need of something to keep us occupied during lockdown. Try building a model railway layout. Need inspiration? Let me help. This is part 5 of my inspiration series. It covers small continuous run double O-gauge layouts and small O-gauge end-to-end layouts. As track gauges increase, layouts get bigger. However, these models are small enough to inspire the solo builder. Hi, I'm Andrew Gebby. You're watching the Heritage and Model Rail channel. And if this is the first time to this channel, become a subscriber. And don't forget the bell icon so that you can be notified when new content appears. This HO gauge layout is Outdoorhof, exhibited by Graham Arnold. With the reopening of a short link cord west of Altdorf, followed by the reopening of Outdoorhof Bahnhof as part of an enlarged S-Bahn network, the area has seen a large increase in rail traffic. DB regional trains now offer a variety of destinations and run side by side with through freight traffic, now bypassing the congested central station. A local gravel quarry also provides some interesting movements due to the restricted track layout. The layout is 12 feet by 5 feet, comprising 3 scenic and 2 fiddle boards. Buildings are kit built from Heljan, Faller and Auhagen. Track is Pico 75 in the scenic section and Pico 100 in the remainder, with Pico points. Stock is a mixture of Pico, Rocco, Lilliput and Hobby Train. Control is DCC Gagemaster Prodigy Advanced. My thanks to Graham for helping with placing cameras and the information. This HO gauge layout is Rottershof, exhibited by Graham Arnold. Rottershof depicts a small station near the Prussia-Bavaria border in the late summer of 1944. In addition to its civilian capacity, Rottershof has a large military loading dock, used as a staging point for the movement of vehicles and tanks. The HO scale layout aims to show an interesting range of trains prototypical to the period, including armoured trains, flak wagons and rakes of tanks on flat cars, as well as passing passenger traffic. The layout is a continuous loop measuring 12 feet by 8 feet, with a scenic section of 10 feet by 2 feet across 3 boards. The scenic section forms the basis for several other exhibition layouts, one of which is Altdorf, shown here at a different exhibition. Track and base scenery are constant, only the buildings change between themes. Buildings are kit-bashed Kybri and Haugen. Track and points are Pico fine scale in the scenic section and Code 100 in the remainder. Control is DC, with an option to use DCC. Stock is Fleischmann, Lilliput, Pico, Rocco, with rolling stock from Rocco and Lilliput, with kit-built tanks and aircraft. Some wagons are ready to run, supplied by Lilliput. My thanks to Graham for the information. So I'm here with Ewan from the Aberdeen Model Railway Club.
So the layout that we've brought today to the St Andrews show is City of Tears. And City of Tears was a final layout within the TV show The Great Model Railway Challenge on Channel 5 that aired last year. The whole aim of the final of the TV series was that the Star Train would travel through a journey through time. So we had all 5 different teams had a different time period that they chose, and we decided to do something completely different to anything that we had seen at model railway exhibitions across the country. And as a club we decided that we wanted to go into the future. So once the train had gone through each of the 4 layouts before us, it would then fly into the sky and then go into the future, into something that was completely different. What is interesting about this layout is that we have a forced perspective in the vertical direction, which we had never seen before. and we have managed to use multiple gauges. So if we start from the top of the layout, we have the star train which flew through the sky, is a 00 train. It then can fly over the sky on 2 different lines. As we go down, going down into a more poorer area of the layout where we're starting to get smog, we also have a 00 layout, which is a basic dog bone loop. And then if we go further down, we then have an N gauge at the bottom, which whizzes past to take a lot more passengers across the city. And we've managed to do that as well by changing the heights of the buildings and having these scene blocks, but in a vertical direction, but also allowing zones to allow focus so that when you're standing at the top, you can see right down to the bottom. The whole layout is controlled by a lens system, and then that goes through an app called TouchCab, which is designed by 2 members of the club in partnership with their company KMS Railtech. So we're able to control all of these trains with an iPad or iPhone and be able to control any signals and lights that we want to as well, where possible. Yeah, so the final layouts, we all had plain baseboards and we had to get a whole layout built within 30 hours. So it was a lot of time pressure. On our time scale, we kind of tried to plan it so that we would have about 10 hours per line, but the bottom, the N gauge, having none of us in the team worked on N gauge, found out very hard on the final that it takes just as long to build a small N gauge as it does a big 00, and so the bottom layer took nearly 2 days to complete. So once we had managed to complete that, we were really against the clock to build it up, and I think everyone in the production team and the judges, as well as all the other team members in all the heats, were a bit shocked on how quickly it went up into the sky. On the final, it had to be nothing pre-built, all built on the day in those 30 hours, from the plain baseboards up to the final product that you see on TV and see here today. So all of the buildings on our layout are scat build. We wanted to show people that you don't have to spend a lot of money to create what we think is a very impressive layout. So we used old drainage pipes for skyscrapers as it went into the future. All of the N gauge buildings at the bottom are just printed pieces of paper wrapped around polystyrene. And then we try to enhance them a wee bit using Merg kits. So we have random lights that are flashing in each of the buildings, a fire going on, and also lights through LEDs into the back scene to try and make the whole thing alive. The layout is very fragile. It was designed to last for 30 seconds on TV. We've been lucky enough to be able to take it to Worley's National Model Railway exhibition, and we had it at Model Rail Scotland, and we've managed to start bringing it into a lot more local Scottish exhibitions, and great to be able to bring it here to St Andrews before our show in October. Well, we're very grateful to be part of the inaugural Great Model Railway Challenge and to be the winners of it, and we really look forward to seeing the new series that airs this later on this month without all the stress of having to build it ourselves.
I'm Mark, I'm a member of Scottish Modellers, and basically we're a group in Scotland. We all build our own layouts. So this is my layout of Rannoch, which is set on the West Highland line in Scotland. I chose this location simply because I started collecting a load of stock that was suitable for it, and I saw a magazine article set in about 2004 of the sleeper trains running up to Fort William, and I had a look, started researching the line and came across Rannoch, and it just appealed to me with the interesting buildings and the footbridge and the viaduct as well, and I thought it'd make into a nice scene for a model railway. So I set about finding photos online and marked out the track plan onto some lining paper and wallpaper originally, and then just got to work building it. So the hardest challenge for me was having to scratch build all the buildings, because there's nothing you can buy ready to plant in place. So I did that. It's all laid with Code 100 track, but once it's painted and ballasted, it looks quite effective, and it's been really reliable over the last 10 years since I started building the layout. I'm using digital control, and I use the GaugeMaster Prodigy advanced system. So I've had that since 2007, and it's been really reliable, so it's good. All the trains are sound fitted as well, which just adds an extra element, a bit more fun to it as well. So I decided to set the era around sort of 2005, 2007, where the 37s in EWS era were still running on the line, albeit in quite battered condition, just before the sort of 67s and 66s really took over. So it's got quite an interesting mix of stock, of freight and passenger on the line. So this layout took me about 3 years to build, on and off. The main bits was just doing all the scratch building for the buildings, but you can pick bits up, work on one bit and then move on to other aspects of it. So about 3 years to get it to the state it's in.
Did you have any challenges while you were building it?
Yeah, the footbridge kit, it was the first time I'd done an etch brass kit, built one of those, so I had to quite quickly learn how to solder a kit like that together using solder paint, but it was actually a really, really good project to do. I quite enjoyed doing it in the end.
So I'm here with Craig on Glasshouse Loan, which is a layout I recorded last year back at St Andrews. So I'm just bringing myself up to date with what's been going on. So Craig, what was the inspiration behind the layout?
The inspiration was just I'd bought a Dapple 08 locomotive. It was the first low-gauge loco that I'd bought, and it's something that I've always been interested in, so it sort of grew for that really. Okay. The inspiration between the area of the layout, the board size dictated the sort of area that I was going to model. I wanted to model a sort of industrial scene, so I went for part of the old railways of the Allo area, and obviously the part we're modelling is closed now, but it was an industrial branch that went to Allo Harbour, served the glassworks, it served the distillery, stuff like that, so it was really to do that.
So what size is it?
The layout and the scenic part of it is roughly 12 feet by about 1.5 feet wide.
And how many boards is that?
There's 4. There's 3 scenic boards, and then there's an extra 4-foot board, which is the traversal yard as well. The package is just basically MDF. I think it's 6mm MDF, and it's just been painted in a sky colour. Yeah.
But the buildings, what were they?
The buildings, the brewery buildings are Skytrex resin building. The warehouse area, they're all Ten Commandments stone cast, the plaster cast buildings that they do. That was how I managed to get those ones done.
Your track, what's that?
The track's all Pico, just Pico standard Code 83 bullhead rail. Just basically the standard track that Pico do. The points are all Pico as well, yeah. The points are all powered as well. They're powered by Cobalt slow action point machines. They're pretty good. Pretty easy to wire up as well. There's no soldering involved. It's all push fit terminals. And
I noticed you've got the Digitrax DCC system. How are you getting on with that?
It's pretty good, yeah. I've got quite a bit of experience with Digitrax because I use it on another layout that I've got as well, which is a Canadian HO layout. So that was what made me go with Digitrax for this one as well. Really easy system to operate, really good.
Your stock, I see, has now been weathered. It certainly is an improvement.
Yeah.
So is that all your stock now weathered?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Sort of spent a few weeks. I did a O-gauge show at Lithgow a few months ago, and before I did that I sort of got into the workshop and got everything all stripped down and weathered, yeah.
And operation, it's just a single person operation?
Yeah, single person operation. It can be operated by 2 as well, but generally just usually do a single person operation.
Right. Have you increased your stock since?
Yeah, I've increased the stock a bit. I've bought a few wagons that have been 3D printed. So they come from a designer down south, designs the wagons, uploads all his designs to Shapeways, and he sells them through the Shapeways website, and through that I've been able to build some wagons which are pretty unique to this layout as well.
Oh, okay. This O-gauge layout is Bankfield Road, exhibited by John and Jackie Nishaw. Bankfield Road was purchased as a layout that had been previously exhibited. There was a small station, a canal basin and a factory siding. Measuring 10 feet by 2 feet, the layout is built in 3 sections. Quite a bit of remedial work was required to allow stock to run smoothly, plus there were several damaged buildings. Jackie searched for a suitable back scene and came across a range of Victorian and Edwardian houses supplied by Kirtley Models. The original 12-volt DC was replaced with a DCC system controlled by a Lenz LZV100 command station. Stock is kit built apart from a ready-to-run EE 350 horsepower diesel shunter. This O-gauge layout is Jackson's Yard, exhibited by Chris Stafford from the South Tyneside O-gauge group. Jackson's Yard was originally Napier Street, created by the Model Railway Journal team. It had various owners over the years and has now become part of the South Tyneside O-gauge group layouts. We have set Jackson's Yard in the industrial heart of northeast England during the late 1950s to 1960s. The track layout lends itself to a lot of shunting, and as such we'll see a lot of different freight coming and going from the many industries that were based in the northeast. We think the layout was originally end to end, but when we took ownership the right hand side had been blanked off. We have since opened it up to create another fiddle yard and will enable us to do through running. This has allowed a basic passenger service through the yard. The emphasis is on freight movements. Types of locos visiting the yard are J27, J39, Q6, Standard 2, 3s and 4s. Green diesels visiting will be class 03, 05, 15, 20, 31s and 37s. Operation is full DCC sound using Rocco's Z21 system and all points controlled by Tortoise motors and Megapoint servos. This layout is Dalnotter Riverside in O-gauge and exhibited by the Scottish Diesel and Electric Group. Dalnotter is based on the north bank of the River Clyde near Kilpatrick, between Dalmuir and Bowling. There were two railways through this area linking Glasgow with Dumbarton. The line still in use today was built by the North British Railway Company. The other line, built by the Caledonian Railway, was closed after becoming a victim of the Beaching Act in the late 1960s. The word Riverside was added to the line's Cali stations by British Rail in order to distinguish them from the North British stations. The Riverside line remained as a single line stump from Clydebank via Dalmuir to Dalnotter to serve local industries there. Shell Oil has a fuel terminal at Dalnotter located at the end of the line. Other customers on the line were Chivas Regal and Arnott Young Shipbreakers. A coal yard was also situated on the line. The layout is set within the summer of 1979, with the premise being that during this time the line still saw the regular use of short-form passenger trains and DMUs serving Glasgow and Dumbarton, along with a multitude of mixed-rake freight trains serving the various industries on the line. The layout is built on 3 scenic boards and 1 fiddle yard. The buildings are all scratch built. Track is by Pico with handmade points. Control is DCC by Lenz, and stock is a mixture of Heljan, Dapol and Just Like the Real Thing. My thanks to Graham for the information. Check out other content that I have by selecting the playlist. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you there.